Hey Homeworthy, my name is Venita and welcome to my Charleston apartment. I cannot wait to show you guys around, so come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hey guys, my name is Venita Aspen. I am a Southern tastemaker and TV personality, and we are in my 1,200 square foot apartment in Charleston, South Carolina. Okay, so I have been living in this apartment for 4 years, and when I first moved in, I actually did not walk through the entire apartment. I walked in and I saw how bright it was, and I said, I'd take it, which is so crazy because I had no idea what the rest of the apartment looked like. So when I came in, I learned that there were a lot of changes that needed to be made. So I wanted to create with this space a calming space for me. A lot of what I do on a day-to-day basis is pretty hectic, so I wanted a sense of calm when I walked through the door. So I've changed light fixtures, I've changed countertops, I've turned my dining room into a closet. I mean, anything you can think of, I've done it to this apartment. So my closet was traditionally they sold it as a dining room, and to me, it's kind of just like a middle ground of the house in between my kitchen and my bathroom. And I ended up designing a walk-in closet in that space instead of using it as a traditional dining room and or switching it into an office. So that is definitely my pride and joy space of my home, besides my porches and my backyard. So this is the apartment that I live in now. Is the apartment that I got blessed, and you may or may not know the television show that I'm on is called Southern Charm, and one of my castmates, who is now a dear friend of mine, lived here prior to me, and upon learning that by receiving his mail one day, I decided to have my apartment blessed not once but twice by a priest. So this apartment is actually the first space I've ever designed start to finish on my own. I don't think I've mentioned it, but when I did live in New York, I had roommates. So this has been my first space I've ever been able to design. So I chose to design this space to, what's the word I'm looking for, to bring out serenity, peace, and calmness. I decided to start with the paint colors first, and then I brought in a style within that. I don't think I have a particular style. I like what I like, and I put it in the room if I like it there. I'm not one of the girls that say, oh, I like Art Deco or like maximalist or minimalist. I like it all, so I just kind of figure out where I want things to go and replace them, and I learn to basically live with it once I find it. But I think my style could be described as playful, colorful, bold with a hint of calm. I think that's how I would describe it. Welcome to my living room. So I wanted to start by showing you all this piece. And to give you a little background, I think the majority of the items in my home are actually thrifted or antique. I don't tend to buy most things brand new. So this was I think like a $400 find that I got at an antique shop, and I have put all of my favorite books here, including some beautiful plants that have been gifted to me from people who are no longer here that are still thriving, which I love. And one of my favorite pieces on this bookshelf would have to be these opera frames, and I also have the case. I saw these at an antique shop before I even purchased the bookshelf, and I just knew that whenever my bookshelf came, I would put these opera glasses on them. So here they are in all their glory. And moving right along, I have these beautiful lampshades from a woman who is based here in Charleston. Her company, I believe, is called Bibby Home. Sorry if I'm not saying that right, but she custom makes these lampshades. So I wanted something to separate the amount of blue that I had in the space. And I told her to do something out of the box. I gave her all free reign. So we ended up with a yellow lampshade and a lampshade that has hues of purple and cream in them as well, which we'll see once we get to the other side of the living room. But moving right along, my art that's on the wall, when I first started designing my space, I naturally have a preppy aesthetic and I wanted it to feel preppy but not scream preppy. And my girlfriend Audrey actually sent this art piece to me. She was like, I think this would be perfect for your living room. And it is a beautiful, I don't know how to describe it. It's a beautiful portrait of an individual whose entire head is hydrangeas. And I thought that was exactly what I described. So that's how we landed on that piece. And I've basically framed the rest of the living room around this piece. I painted first, we got the piece. The couch came shortly after. I'm trying to think what else. The lamps, obviously that's a thrifted vintage Ralph Lauren lamp that I found. And the living room just kind of started to come together on its own, and basing it around this art piece was definitely helpful to me, especially when it came to pulling more colors that weren't in the blue family. As you can see, my entire living room is blue. And I didn't want it to feel so blue that it was unapproachable, which is why the pops of color in the lamps came into play. And if we make our way over to my beautiful second lamp that's in my living room that I actually have stacked on books. So I found this lamp and I loved it, but it wasn't tall enough. And I just had this grand idea. I was like, what if I just stack it on some books? And I believe all those books are blue, except for the bottom one. So I stacked it on top of, I stacked the lamp on top of these books. And again, this lampshade just creates such a different visual space for the room. These two vignettes where the lamps are completely different. It almost makes you feel like you're in two separate parts of the living room, which I love. And giving the artist free reign to kind of do what she wanted allowed me to fall in love with introducing a separate color to my living room. And lastly, we have my little bar area here, which I had been searching for the perfect bar cart for, I don't know, like I think 3 years. And the moment I decided to go on a drinking hiatus, what popped up? My bar cart. So we have this beautiful antique bar cart that I purchased locally from, give me 1 second, it's gonna come to me. Antiques of South Windermere. Oh my God, my brain was like not working. So I purchased this bar cart there and I got it at a steal. The guy's booth was 50% off that day. So I think I got a really good deal on it. I believe the bar cart is from like 1971, which is to me not that old, but in the grand scheme of things, I guess it is kind of old. And again, with the art on the wall, as well as this one, my friend Audrey again helped me pick the art for this wall. I would not have any art in this living room if it wasn't for her. She introduced me to an artist whose name I can't remember right now, but hopefully we can put it somewhere so you guys can find her pieces. But I wanted this wall to feel calm in comparison to this wall. Even though they're very close to each other, I feel like this is, to me, this has a lot happening. So I wanted some sense of calmness that will allow me to flow into the bedroom, which is completely calm. So we found this set of blue squares, I guess is the best way to describe it. And I think they work perfectly here. I originally had baskets on the wall and opted to put art in its place instead. Being that my space is to most large, but as a fashionista, my space is small. I don't have a lot of space for the clothes and bags. I have, as you can see, put some of my clothing and shoes items into my decor. I have a pair of vintage Manolos that I found at the Real in LA for $70. I know I'll never wear them, so I put them into decor. And then I have this beautiful bag from Over the Moon in the poolside that I just figured it, I mean, when I take the bag out, you look how empty the space is, and we add it in, and it is just the perfect pop for that corner. It's a monogram bag that they so kindly gifted to me after we had a dinner here in Charleston for a store opening. And I just, it ties it in perfectly. It gives me a little bit of that preppy flair that I like, but it's not so to the T of being preppy, which again is something that I love and appreciate when it comes to my style. So my house scent is weird because each room has a different scent, which I know is overwhelming for most, but the living room is Palo Santo, very calm, brings you back to a sense of, just peace and being grounded. So that's my living room scent. And this candle in particular is from Celadon here in Charleston, and it has a base of sandalwood. The middle scent is cedar and pine, and the top is a cypress that I cannot pronounce, so I will not even attempt to butcher it right now. And it just smells so yummy and warm and inviting. And it's a candle that I can burn year round because it's not scent specific to like a holiday or a time, which I love. So in this corner, I kind of have like my stationery, my keys go here. It's kind of like my placeholder. So my home isn't set up in a traditional way. So I don't have a foyer that I can just kind of throw all my like whatever things in. So I created this little space here, which this is a Serene and Lily bar cart that I have placed. Anyway, hey Charles, they did a collab with Over the Moon. So I keep pens and pencils in the top, small letters and stationery in the middle, and then my larger stationery items and more unique pieces of stationery in the larger one, and mail that I need to remember. So I kind of use these suitcases as more of a storage solution for my stationery and my mail, which is pretty fun. So I really do enjoy the art of stationery and writing letters. I feel like in this day and age, we are so used to being able to talk to someone so quickly, and the thoughtfulness is kind of lost because you can do it in such a quick way. Whereas I have a really good friend of mine named Ryan, and every single time we hang out, 3 days later or 4 days later, I always have a letter in the mail saying, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate our friendship. So I picked up on that and I started doing that on my own as well. So once I hang out with someone or we have dinner, I do send some snail mail to them, which is kind of fun because it kind of breaks up the hecticness of the world that we live in our day-to-day life by receiving a handwritten letter or note from someone who loves and cares about you. So when I first moved into this apartment, I only had one closet, and it is right here. And this closet also holds my washer and dryer. So what I ended up doing is I partnered with Graceful Space Organizing. We completely changed the way this closet worked. So we store all of my fall and winter items in here. Being that I live in Charleston, I do not reach for those items often at all. We have all of my backup like skincare, hair care products, paper towels, vases, and like random things like hats and sunglasses. They all belong in this space with my washer and dryer. Some days I still can't believe that this was the only closet I had the first year and a half that I lived in this apartment. It blows my mind. And once you see the closet that I currently have, you'll completely understand why that is the case. Moving over to our fireplace. So I have two fireplaces in my home, and neither of them work because my home is split, and there's another unit above me. But I decided to add some candles for ambiance in the fireplace area, and my boyfriend so kindly gifted me for one Christmas this Marshall speaker that I use to create a surround sound effect when I'm watching television and movies. And I think that it fits so perfectly with my aesthetic. It's like vintage but new, all in one. And then obviously tips and tricks. This basket, I cut a large hole in the back, and it holds every single wire that is for the speaker, the cable box, my television. It's all stored in here, which is great. And it took me a bit to find that concept, but it was one that I thought worked best for me in my space. And I love still being able to tie in my love of wicker and rattan by having that box here too. So when it came to designing this space, the original lighting that I had in the living room was pretty drab, and I wanted something that, again, the words peace, serenity, and calm are words that I will continue to use throughout this entire tour, but I wanted a light that gave me that same feeling. And since I decided to paint the living room blue, I wanted to have a white light that resembled a cloud. So it was kind of like I was resting in the clouds when I came home. I know that's silly to say out loud, but I love it. I kind of live in that too. I just wanted a very strong sense of peace in my home. So this is where this light comes into play as my cloud, if you will. And being that my space is completely blue, when it comes to florals, I can kind of play a little bit more, I think. And my friend Sunny always delivers these beautiful florals to me, and he appreciates and loves my love for orchids. So there's always orchids somewhere within the florals, which I think the color and hues now tie in so perfectly with the lamp that is actually a new addition to the living room. But yeah, Sunny makes the most insane florals. Like, I mean, insane. Imagine taking your Pinterest photo, handing it to him, and then he hands it right back to you. That's Sunny. And we love Sunny for that. The florals are, I mean, my favorite part of the house, obviously, but they're beautiful. So when I first walked into this apartment, I knew immediately that I wanted it. Hence the fact that I walked in, cut the corner once, and I didn't even see the back of the house. All I saw when I walked in was the amount of light that poured into this house. And it was the only apartment that I looked at. It was the first apartment I looked at upon moving back from New York to Charleston. And I kind of knew right away, like, this is mine, but I had no idea how I was going to design it. I started off with a lot of rattan, a lot of wicker. I wanted it to feel so Palm Beach because that was a place at the time I was traveling to quite a bit, and it was a happy place for me. So I thought I was going to go that route, and then as time went on, I kind of found my own style within the Palm Beach aesthetic. Some things still make an ode to Palm Beach, like a lot of orchids all over the home and bold colors, but yeah, that's kind of how I felt when I first walked into the apartment. I knew right away that this was the apartment for me. So when designing the living room, being that my bedroom is only separated by 2 sliding doors, I wanted to be able to create a room that had the same sense of calm, but a lot more colors. So if we come through my pocket doors here, which I'm sure you'll see Charles patiently waiting. Oh, I'm sorry, patiently waiting on me to get to the other side. So in order for these rooms to flow together, I wanted to play more with the colors that some of them are in the hydrangea head, some of them are in the living room. The lamp kind of ties in with the mustard or chartreuse color that's on the bedding. The blues, again, are tied in with the headboard, some of the pillows, and green has been a color that I've always kind of been afraid of, which is so wild for me to say because I'm basically wearing a yellow green right now. But it's been a interior color that I definitely have been a little weary of. So I decided to play with that when it came to the curtains that I have hanging in my bedroom. I like a room to always feel light and airy, but especially a bedroom. So I did not want to put a heavy curtain in this room. So I went with a linen blend curtain instead. So it always allows some light to come in, and I can just filter it if I decide to close the curtains at any point or blinds at any point during the day. And Mr. Charles here, who is so cutely sitting in his bed, needed his own station. So I found this chest at Celadon, and I believe it actually was meant to go in the kitchen. It has this little like tray, so I'm like, maybe put a cocktail here or something. I don't know. We haven't tried it out yet, but I store all of his toys, his clothes, his medicine, and food in the bottom of this, and some of my overflow items go in the top. Like I have a few purses in here and a bag or two. And when it came to my bedroom, again, I wanted to put an emphasis on my love for color. I didn't want to have another room that felt as singular in color as my living room does. So we played with hues of oranges, green, chartreuse, and blues. And this rug is a unicorn find because I found this rug on the biggest sale. I think it was 90% off or something like that, which I didn't even think existed. And this is a 9x10. So we all know how expensive a 9x10 rug is. So for me to find that at such a steal was amazing. And at first I purchased the rug for the living room because I wanted to break up the blue in there, but it didn't work. So I brought it on into the bedroom, and I think it just goes so beautifully with all the other colors that I have. And when designing this room, I'm a TV watcher to go to bed type of gal. And at first I thought it was kind of silly to have two TVs right next to each other, in the sense since my living room and bedroom don't have a traditional door. I ended up creating a gallery wall that worked around not only my TV, but my mirror where I sit at my vanity to get ready. And she's still a work in progress, I think, but I have her to a point of love right now. So I really love her. I have some art from a local artist here named Carrie Davis. She makes these unique and fun faces. And I walked into Charleston Artist Collective and I was like, I don't know, the pink might be too bright. And when I put it in the space, I was like, okay, no, it's perfect. I have an original on this wall. I have a print from the internet on this wall, and I have a vintage tapestry on this wall. So saying all that to say, don't be afraid to mix things together. Building a home takes a lot of time and a lot of money, and you don't have to stress yourself out having originals of everything. Sometimes prints are just as beautiful as an original piece of art. Okay, so my vanity. So when it came to designing this room, we all have our landlord woes, and I don't know if you'll be able to air that or not, but we all have our landlord woes. So when I got to my bedroom, they just asked me to not paint anymore. So I had this white vanity. I was going to wallpaper it. I decided not to, but by keeping it white, I felt like it did, once I got this room finished, it did break up the amount of color that was in here, which is really great. So I sit here and I do my vanity. I sit here and I do my makeup every day. I also do my own makeup every single time I film, which I know might be a shocker for some. I know some of the girls love to hire hair and makeup teams on other shows, but I like to keep things pretty simple unless I'm going to an event. So that's the only time I kind of bring in a glam squad. Other than that, I'm doing my makeup every single time you see me on TV. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I have a few holy grail beauty products right now. I am loving any and everything, and I'm not going to apologize for how they look because this is real life. Any and everything by Westman Atelier. I currently have 3 blushes by them in 1 contour color, and the pigmentation of their products, I mean, like, look at that. It's insane. It's worth every penny that you'll save up and spend on it. And I definitely think every girl, if able, should have a piece of Westman Atelier products in their day-to-day routine. Okay, so a Cliff Note version of my career. Let's start. I went to culinary school, worked in the field, loved the job, hated the people, left, went to fashion, worked in Charleston in fashion, and then left Charleston, went to New York. I wanted something bigger, hated the company, moved back home. I sat idle for a bit. I worked at a antique shop here in Charleston while I figured out my life. From there, I started a production company. I did that for 3.5 years. In between all of that, I was modeling and influencing on the side. The influencing was not a full-time job. It was just something that I did for fun. And the modeling was more of like a part-time gig for me. And from there, the influencing turned into a full-time job. From there, I stumbled upon reality television, and now we're here. There's a lot more in between, but I didn't want to bore you, so I just gave you that as quickly as I could. Yes, so when I come home at the end of every day, which is partly the reason why I painted my living room blue. I wanted, again, a sense, I'm going to say the word calm, serenity, and peace a lot throughout this. I wanted to feel that when I walk through the front door, like, okay, I can let everything go now. I can sit down, relax. My place is not a chaotic place or a chaotic space at all. So I definitely feel that sense of overall calmness when I walk in through the front door. And being that I have such a non-traditional space, I had to find this side table, which I will roll out to you, as my like nightstand. Because again, my bed sits right next to a fireplace, and then on the other side there's a door, so I don't have the traditional setup where I could have two side tables. So I found this fun side table, which is blue and white stripe, which pays homage to the blue in the bedroom, which I absolutely love. And when it came to decorating the top of this, I kind of wanted to keep it simple. So I just have some books that I love to read. I'm not the biggest reader in the world, so I typically read the same book over and over again because I'm just that type of person. Like, I like seeing the same story and like discovering new things about it. So I just have a few books here. And then I also have a photo book down at the end, and some dried hydrangeas because they are perfect for every season and they'll never die. So I never have to worry about repurchasing flowers for my room, which I absolutely adore. And coming over to the bed. So being that this is the first space that I have designed fully on my own, when it came to designing my bed, I wanted my bed to have a more is more feeling when it came to the pillows. I honestly think I could add a few more, but some people might call me crazy. I think I have 10 pillows on my bed right now. And I just wanted the color to shine more so in the room through the bedding, which is why I chose to go with the chartreuse color, which was not my first choice. I originally had a black and white bedroom idea, and I decided to add in color. And then I have a beautiful blue quilt that ties in the blue with these pillows. I am a pillow hoarder. I like the idea of having a lot of pillows on the bed. More is more when it comes to bedding is something that I really enjoy when I look at other people's homes. So I try to encapsulate that here with the 10 pillows that I currently have on my bed. And my favorite pillows on the bed are from Hunt Slonim, and I discovered this artist through my friend Grace Atwood. She was obsessed with the artist and she constantly shared it on her Instagram. So when I walked into a local shop here in Charleston and I saw they had the pillows, I knew that this was going to be the perfect pop for my bed. Just enough of a pop for me, and then we kind of calm it down again with this beautiful pillow here that has some beautiful watercolors that tie in the chartreuse and blue so perfectly to the bed. I was on the hunt for a bed tray for quite some time, and I found this actually at the same antique shop that I found my bar cart, and I was so shocked at how inexpensive it was because all the new ones are so expensive to me. So I was able to find this vintage rattan bed tray that I think is just so cute, and I do use it. I usually have my iPad sitting right here and my computer. So when I wake up after I've like gotten up, gotten some water, brushed my teeth, did all the things, I get right back in bed and I work from here for a little bit. Again, allowing me to feel calm and peace when I'm working from my bed and not sporadically just working from not having a tray. But yes, that is my bed that I adore. And my art that I have on this dresser here, it's kind of a mix of things. So this pink is actually just a random pin board. So I used to have a mood board that I kept in my bedroom, and once I started to develop the space more, I decided to clear it and just use it as another layer for art that I did not want to hang. So this is by an artist who is no longer painting, by the name of Lauren Taylor. And I actually had this piece in my office and I decided to put it in my bedroom instead. It's absolutely beautiful. And I discovered this artist with a friend of mine, Austin Walker. We went to an art walk in Beaufort, and there was a woman there who created these faces out of steel, and the steel was out of my price point. And when I said that to her, she was like, well, I actually have it in prints too. Again, letting you guys know prints matter, okay? They're just as important. So I ended up purchasing the print of her original sculpture and adding that to my room. A lot of my art has a feeling of strong and belonging. I think that's how I like to describe it. So these two pieces definitely tied that in perfectly for me. I think we've kind of covered the bedroom, and now I'm so excited because the next room that I'm getting ready to show you guys is my absolute favorite room of the house, which is my dining room turned closet. So come with me so you guys can see what that looks like. So we are stepping in to my closet. I definitely have designed a closet of every girl's dreams. So my closet was an empty space when I moved in. None of this was here. And I couldn't decide if I was going to turn it into an office space or I was just going to have it as like storage. And the more I thought about it, the more I said, how crazy would it be if I just flipped it into a closet? So I teamed up with Closet Factory almost 3 years ago now to build out this closet. And I literally designed the closet with my Barbies in mind. So we had to make sure that it did not go to the ceiling. So I had enough space to stack every single Barbie that I have. I have been collecting holiday Barbies since before I was born, thanks to my godmother. So we have a slew of holiday Barbies up here, and I definitely wanted to show them off with the closet design, which is how we came up with designing the closet this way. Like I said, I am a type A organized individual, so making sure everything was organized in this space and it was, you know, beautiful and color coordinated is something that I worked with Graceful Spaces organizing on to make sure happened. When I first organized the space, it was completely different. My heels actually weren't in this closet, they were in the front closet. And when Graceful Space Organizing came, they were like, no, your heels need to go in here. And I said to them, I was like, I don't think I have a heel that's lower than 5 inches. I don't know if that's going to work. But we did some shifting and we made it work. And now all my heels live here, as well as like my purses, obviously everything else, my jeans, boots, my athletic wear. And I wanted this space to have art and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to put in here. And I stumbled upon an original poster from The Wiz, and I found it at, where did I find it? I found it at Elizabeth Stewart Designs, and I left it. And I ended up posting it on my Instagram, and everyone was like, you need to find space for it. You have to find space for it. And I didn't even know how much it cost. I was just like, okay, everyone's screaming at me. I have to find space for it. So I ended up calling them back and was like, do you still have it? And they did, and they held it for me. And we ended up adding it in my closet here to kind of just give something on this wall besides an empty space. And I absolutely love it. It is a beautiful woman who's standing strong, and the colors are just so perfect. They're not distracting, so it doesn't take away from everything else happening in the closet. It kind of just blends in very seamlessly, and I'm obsessed with this. I'm very happy that I found her. And with this space in my closet, it's a little weird. So as you can see, I have a door that separates these two spaces, but behind that door, I have a wall of headbands. I have a wall of headbands here, and I have my necklaces, and I also use this area to store all of my perfume. I originally had all of these items placed here, but I did not want this area to feel overcrowded. When you first walked in, I still wanted it to feel like, again, have a sense of calmness, cleanliness. So I decided to place all of my perfumes and headbands here versus having them here. And I just love this little nook again. And living in Charleston, you will find that a lot of your homes will have these random spaces. And I think the best part is learning how to utilize it and make it work best for you. I would have never thought to hang my headbands here if it wasn't for graceful space organizing and then deciding to put my perfumes here in lieu of having them in this focal point here. Would you like to talk about perfumes with me, young man? Mr. Charles? Are you not getting enough screen time? um, and yeah, I love my closet. My closet is my dream. The day I have to leave this space, I'll probably cry. So hopefully that's not anytime soon, because I really do love this apartment and I've definitely made it my own. And my last piece of this apartment is going to have to be the chandelier. So I went to an antique shop called Warehouse 61 and they had the large version of this chandelier. I'd never seen it before. It was astronomical. It was about $8,000. And I fell in love with it that day. And I was like, I said to myself, I wish they came out with a smaller piece, or I wish there was a smaller version of it. And I go to my next consignment shop or antique shop. And what do I find in the booth that I bought the bar cart from? The mini version of the chandelier. And it was on sale. So I knew I was like, I have to get it. I loved everything in my closet is so colorful and bright. I needed something in this space to match that. And the chandelier having a slew of different colors and shapes really felt like it was going to fit the space. And it's just perfect. I could not have created a more perfect chandelier for this space besides the one that we currently have. And I absolutely love her. The chandelier, as I learned from my antique dealer, you can switch these fruits out. And I learned it the hard way because when I first hung this with my handyman, we dropped it. And I thought that I would never, I lost the chandelier. I thought I lost it. And the antique dealer told me, she was like, no, this is something that you can interchange and people sell the pieces. So we got online and we found some replacements, and we also found some new pieces to add to the chandelier, which makes it even that much more special to me because it's like I almost lost her and I got her back. And yeah, she's just, the lighting is very unique. And when it came to pulling this home together, lighting was not something that I was well versed in. And once you start playing with it and understanding, what works for a space and what doesn't, you really grow to appreciate lighting in a whole new light, if you will. No pun intended. But yes, this is my beautiful closet. I love her. She loves me back, obviously. A favorite shoe to show you all. I'm quite torn. I'll give you two sides of my personality. I'll give you one that's a little calm. It'd have to be these raffia heels by Sam Edelman. I say calm and they're like 4.5 inches, or if not 5. I basically wear these shoes every single time I get dressed in the spring and summer. It's just a very easy neutral. And they're comfortable because they have the platform, and they're very timeless to me. Because I love a very high heel. I know most people do not enjoy them as much as I do. And if I had to pick my handy dandy pink ladder here, and when I first built out this closet, my mom's main concern was, how are you going to reach everything? I was like, Mom, I'll just get a hot pink ladder to stand on everything to reach all of my goods. So my second favorite shoe are these pearl heels from Gianni Bini. As a Southern girl, I love a pearl. And when I saw these, I definitely fell in love. And I feel like this is a neutral, but I don't think most people would find these shoes to be a neutral. And lastly, my favorite shoe. How pretty are these? These are from Hill House, and the owner of Hill House loves a platform, so all of her shoes are platform heels, and she just has fun with shoes, which I can appreciate a lot, and I just love them. They're blue and sparkly, and I also consider these to be a neutral, but, to each their own. And to give you a lowdown of my handbags as well while we're here, I decided to treat myself when accomplishments would happen in my life, and that was with the purchase of a vintage Chanel bag. And I have a bag from every milestone. So I have one from the year that I was born. I have a 1993 white and gold Chanel bag. I have one from the year that I graduated high school. I have one from the year of my first large partnership. And, you know, I try to make sure with everything that I purchase, from furniture to clothing to shoes, that everything has a meaning and a purpose. So that's kind of how I justify those purchases. But I'm like, oh, well, you know, it's so nice to have one from the year that I graduated high school, you know, which is very fun. And it allows me to create, you know, timeless moments and timeless things within my collection. So now that I have gone through all of my favorite things and shown you guys my closet, let's take a step into my kitchen, which is my second favorite part of the house because I have a background in culinary arts. So I have spent a lot of time making my kitchen just as perfect as my closet. So let me show you what that looks like. What makes a home come alive is seeing the reflection of that individual when you walk through the home. If you had to describe my personality, a lot of people would say it's bright, bubbly, energetic, and calm, which I think is also ways to describe the house. Some of the colors are energetic, but it still has a calm aura. And I think that definitely sets and makes a person's house a home, is being able to see a reflection of them throughout their spaces. I would say to someone trying to figure out how they can tap into their personal style, do what you want first. I think that is like the biggest thing. And as far as interiors go, this was one of my biggest struggles. I had never designed anything before. I didn't want to, you know, spend a lot of money trying to have someone help me. So I had to kind of figure it out as I went. And every decision I end up being the happiest with is the one I decided for myself. And, you know, not allowing others to say, well, that's too many pillows on the bed, or I don't think chartreuse goes in your bedroom. You know, it's like what I wanted. So that's what I did, and I stuck with that. I think that is my number one tip when it comes to getting confidence in any space, but especially in the space of style. Okay, so welcome to my kitchen. So when I walked through this apartment the first time, like I said, I did not make it to this portion of the house at all. So I kind of just moved in on a whim, and the kitchen was a labor of love because when I came in, I had older countertops, which were fine, but they needed to be replaced, but I didn't have the finances to do so. So I went to a marble place, a marble store. I don't know how to describe that. And I asked them for scrap marble that they had for sale. And the gentleman sold me a piece that was very long, and I hadn't measured anything. I'm not one of those. I probably make everyone so annoyed because I don't like measuring things. And I just took it. I was like, it's perfect. It was in my price point. I was like, I'll take it. And I brought it in, and I realized that I made it too long. So with that, alongside working with Closet Factory to do my closet, we ended up creating a build out because I enjoy tea and coffee. I used to have coffee here. Now I'm only drinking strictly tea. So we created these drawers and this shelf to make sure that this did not seem silly when we place it within the kitchen, which I love. And I keep bowls, measuring cups, backup storage items here, and all of my glass and containers. Again, I keep things in wicker baskets to kind of keep the vibe going throughout the house. And behind this curtain is actually my water heater. Living in an older home, sometimes you just come across things that are really ugly, and my water heater was one of those things. And I didn't think that it was something that could be moved, so I just decided to hang up a rod and hide my water heater behind a curtain. And being that I don't have a lot of space in here, and I have more kitchen items, I think, than I do shoes, believe it or not, I decided to use the items that I do use quite often, but use them as decoration instead of hiding them when I ran out of storage for my other pots and pans. So we've placed all of our tea kettles, our water pitchers, our strainers, some Le Creuset pots, some Mackenzie Childs items. I also have a beautiful vintage tea set that I bring out on occasion, which is very fun. My KitchenAid mixer. I just decided to decorate it up there instead. And I know I mentioned earlier that I do I have a background in culinary arts, and with that, when it came to creating content around it, I didn't have an overhead space above my oven or my stove, so I decided to work with my handyman here to create some shelves that will also allow me to store my cooking books, extra glassware, some vases. This holds olive oil and vinegar, my oven mitts. I just wanted to be able to create more storage when it came to this space. And again, I did not know what I was walking into because I had not come back here. So when I first moved in, my refrigerator actually sat right here. And I had my small kitchen table at the time where my current refrigerator is. And I wanted to open up the space more. So again, I worked with Closet Factory to build this banquette, which also gave me extra storage for all of the kitchen items that I do have. And I came in, being that I live alone, I didn't need a refrigerator that was very large. So I purchased this Chambers refrigerator that gave me the vintage vibe, but it also didn't break the bank. Smeg was a little bit out of my price point. So I found something that was similar, which was this Chambers refrigerator, which is great. And over here, I have all of my plates and some additional glassware. And this piece I actually found at Habitat for Humanity, and it was originally a TV stand, and I paid $25 for it, and I decided to use it to display my plates and to place my microwave. Being that it was made originally as a TV stand, the hole was already in the back for me to make sure I could plug my microwave in. And we have just displayed my plates here and some glassware, and Graceful Space Organizing also helped me place some linens for table settings up here, as well as additional pictures that I use within this space. Some fun things about my kitchen is my wallpaper. My wallpaper is peel and stick wallpaper. Being that I rent, I didn't want to place wallpaper in this apartment permanently, and I worked alongside Chasing Paper to put up and place and figure out what wallpaper was going to work best for my space. I let them know that I was a fan of blue and pink, and they were like, we have the perfect wallpaper for you. And this was the room I felt like I could have more fun when it came to design, because it is an enclosed space where my other two spaces are pretty open. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So at first I was a little scared. I was like, how do I style around such wild wallpaper? But I ended up stumbling upon an artist at one of the home stores I like to shop at here in Charleston called Celadon, and her name is Savannah. And when I reached out to her, I told her I wanted something that was big and bold and unique, and that was not going to distract, but more so complement the wild wallpaper that I had. And she showed me this in a print, and I asked her, I was like, I think I want the original. I didn't want a print. And I wanted the original because of the texture that is on the painting. You can't get that in a print. So I opted for the original here. And it is, it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. Again, it ties in with the women that are in my bedroom that just give this strong presence. And her hair being a palm is very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very much an ode to Charleston and palm trees. And, the green now ties in with the green in the bedroom. And it was just a very spectacular piece. And I was very happy and excited that she was able and willing to sell her original to me, because that was a big ask and I was a little nervous. And I was very happy that she said yes about that. And since I do a lot of cooking and I don't have a lot of space, I did not want to take up my shelving space by putting my spices within them. So I opted out for a floating spice rack that you see here, and we have everything labeled beautifully. Graceful Spaces Organizing actually switched out the canisters that I had, and they were like, how do you feel about a bamboo top on your spices? And I said, I'm game for it. So they did that for me, and they also included magnetic knife holders for me. My knives are very special, and I like to make sure that they're protected and on display. So we have them here which makes it very easy for me to grab them while I'm cooking. I can just turn around and do this number, and then my spices are here, which is great. And then I can do this in this portion of the kitchen, or all my oils, additional overflow for spices, and all of my baking items as well. So now that we have gone through and shown you everything that is to love about my kitchen, I want to show you one of my last favorite spots of my home, which is my side porch. And living in Charleston, having a porch is the best thing available. So this is my lovely porch. I have a strong love and appreciation for flowers and gardening, and when I moved into this space, one of the main reasons why I did ultimately decide to choose it is because my front and back porch were very spacious, at least from what I saw online, because as you know, I did not cut the corner when I first made it into the house. And I knew it was a place that I could make feel very Charleston and bring my own flair to it as well. So I keep potted plants around year long, and I also keep an herb garden back here in the corner, and I have 2 citrus trees back here as well that are finally blooming some citrus. So I'm very excited to see what amount of citrus I can get from them this year. And I also have just this one cute seat here, party for one if you will, because I didn't want to overfill the space too much. I didn't want a table and chair situation. I wanted the back porch to be a place where I can come and relax. The word home means to me, and you can take a wild guess at my answer, the word home means a place of calmness, peace, and serenity, which I know I've said over and over and over again, but you know, we live in such a world where things are constantly being thrown at you, or things always feel out of whack. And you know, your home is the only space where you set the standard of the feeling, the look, the feel, the vibe, everything. So those would be my 3 words to describe the word home to me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.